Welcome back. My name is Laird, and this is part 2 of Kentucky Route Zero. As we left, so we begin. Conway heads back into the night. Do I listen to the instructions? We're going to go exploring for a bit. There's no reason not to. I can get back to the 65 anytime. The sign in front of the building just reads, Museum. The lights are off. The front door is open. Conway steps through the museum doors. A few feet away inside the museum, the ambient sound of the highway drops sharply away. The room is cold, dark, and still. A book lies open on the table in the center of the room. An open hallway extends to the left. Large glass doors bar the path ahead. I like how walk through the glass doors. I just envision Conway just bursting through them, but I think we're going to read the book. There's no title on the book's spine or cover. A 3-word phrase written in pencil on the first page is smudged and indecipherable. On the first page, someone has left an ink drawing of a horse. Several dozen blank pages later, the end of the book is an elaborate ink drawing of a one-legged man working an antique adding machine surrounded by whiskey bottles. Conway walks down the hallway to the left. Conway's steps echo against the hallway's marble floor, arched ceilings. Plexiglass boxes line the walls, the hallway dead ends, darkened display case. Conway examines the darkened display case. The case is just several yards wide, but just a few feet off the ground. It's unlit back in this corner of the dark museum, very little moonlight creeps in. A gold-plated plaque on the surface of the case is a bit easier to read. It recounts a short history of fowl hunting in the region, and then speculates abruptly about the nature of addiction. Conway examines the boxes on the wall. The first box, just a few feet into the hall, contains an assortment of bird wings. Some are missing feathers. One large, brightly colored wing almost glows in the moonlight. Its feathers are intact, but a piece of bone pokes awkwardly from the tip. Conway walks to the glass doors. The glass doors won't budge. To apply any more force would likely break them. Conway applies force to the doors. The glass shatters. Light switches on. After a moment, it switches off. The room is dark again, and the floor is covered in broken glass. Conway walks through the broken glass doors. Broken glass grinds under Conway's boots as he walks down the hall. He has the feeling of being in a larger space. Very little light reaches the far end of the hallway. Conway runs his hands along the walls. The walls are completely smooth and strangely warm. Conway can feel his breath and sweat condensing on the surface. The floor is completely smooth, strangely warm. Conway can feel his breath and sweat condensing on the surface. I feel like this is like a anglerfish on the roads. I'm just checking to see if anything's changed. Conway drives away, heading up to Route 259 and 70. He stops at the fork of the road and consults a die. Evens he goes to 70, odds to 259. The die lands on a 7 to Route 259. Conway goes. We're on Anita Road. A new fork is reached. Evens to the right, odds to the left. The die settles upon a 1. Go off to the left. Once again, the die is cast. Odds it is. To the left I go. Okay, I just want to get to the top. Okay, so we're at the top of the map. So I'm just gonna kind of... I'll cruise back the way we came. Found a church. A singing chorus echoes from within the church. The building is 1 story tall with a pitched roof, and a 3-story spire rising from the front. The top section of the spire is made of stained glass. An interior light illuminates the pines in red, green, and blue. A large LED display glows in the parking lot. Light of the last Great Awakening Baptist Church. Conway approaches the church doors. The front doors are modest and worn. They are locked. Conway walks to the rear of the building. A ramp leads up from a few dusty metal trash cans to the church's back door. Conway opens a few of the trash cans and looks in. One has a bit of something leafy and rotten stuck to the bottom of it. Another is full of unlabeled videotapes. Conway pushes open the back door. He finds himself in a kitchen lit by buzzing fluorescent ceiling fixture. On the counter are a plate of moldy bread and an empty Dixie cup flecked red around its waxy rim. A set of swinging plastic doors to the far wall lead out of the kitchen. Conway pushes open the plastic doors and walks through. Vacant pews sprawl unevenly into the church. A small raised stage lies to Conway's right, bare, except for a tape recorder. The tape recorder's power cord runs to an outlet near Conway's feet. Conway unplugs the tape recorder. The singing stops. The lights fail. Two shirtless, shoeless men push a light aircraft along the highway. Occasionally one or the other slips a bit in the sweating asphalt, or stops to pull back his hair. The rubber is almost worn away. Soon these men will be dragging the airplane. The men are nearly broken. Conway lingers for a bit, just taking in the sight. Conway notes the plane is numbered 819. Jots it down in his book. Magic Demon, I appreciate those 3 bits from Florida. How you doing? As the plane disappears from sight, Conway gets back in his truck. Because he doesn't want to stay any longer. The car will not turn to the left. Peonia Road. Author aside, from the narrator, currently me. Peonia is a very tiny town in Colorado I have stayed in with my family a long time ago. I don't know if I'd call it horror. There is something occasionally unsettling, but I enjoy the dramatic narration style. It's just a personal preference. Rocky Hills Estate Room. Conway pulls into the bait shop parking lot. Vaulted above the road on a thin steel bar, a handwritten sign reads, "Live bait, minnows, small, also large for stripers, night crawlers, chips, and beer." A green flyer hangs loosely from a bit of masking tape at eye level. To the shop's right, a dirt parking lot sprawls unevenly into grass and then eventually trees. The bait shop is open. Conway reads the flyer. Computer printed type in a bold font surrounds a clip art illustration of a TV set. The TV has eyes, arms, and legs. Its shoulders are slouched. On the screen is a cartoon expression. Exhausted nausea. A hot water bottle rests against its wire antenna. TV repair. No model too old. Inquire within. We do not sell digital converter boxes. Conway enters the bait shop. Narrow aisles crowded with lures, reels, and rods. Snacks divide the counter lengthwise from the entrance to the cashier's counter. The left wall is lined with churning tanks of water. Conway approaches the tanks. The 3 metal tanks aren't labeled, and the water is too agitated to get a clear view of what's inside each one. The contents of the first tank are vaguely gray, second a muddy pink. The third is clear, but shiny silver flecks occasionally flash across its surface. Conway reaches into the first tank. Conway's hand brushes against something roughly the size of its palm. Conway reaches deeper into the tank. Conway's hand comes into contact with a scaly, uneven surface. As he runs his fingers along the bottom, a bead of sweat inches from his temple to the water's surface. Something bites at his forearm, recoils. Conway reaches into the second tank. His fingers slip through something fleshy but inert, and since the sensation is nauseating. As his elbow passes into the pinkish mash, he realizes he's about to be sick from the smell and pulls away. The water seems to tremble with life. Conway can't tell if his hand is being nibbled by fish or massaged by the artificial current. See something colorful glowing faintly at the bottom of the tank. Conway reaches deeper into the tank. A tremor spreads from his elbow out to his fingertips and up to the base of his shoulder. His vision flickers. The water is running warm under his skin now. He has the sensation that something is about to snap. His eyes close. He lays on a rooftop. New shingles rough beneath his back, swelling in the noon sun. He is exhausted. They must have started before dawn. His legs are sore from holding stable on the uneven surface. His wrist from breaking old sealant. His fingers from carefully lifting shingles to hammer down new ones. His boss, Ira, yells from the idling truck below. He shades his eyes with his hand. A beer would be good already. It's barely past noon, but he's worked a full day already. What could the harm be? Maybe a shot at the counter, just to get his eyes open. Then a beer. He'd offer to drive into town for lunch, then stop at that place on Cumberland. The cashier pushes Conway roughly on the shoulder. He's been talking, yelling maybe, but it's all an echo now. Conway looks up, his neck stiff with pain, his right palm still tingling. The cashier points to the tank, then above it, a few holes torn in the wall, nail holes from which an electric sign had come dislodged, fallen into the water. He helps Conway to his feet, looks at him pitifully, then returns to the register. Narrow aisles crowded with lures, reels, rods, and snacks divide the shop lengthwise. Entrance to the cashier's counter. Off to the wall, it's lined with churning tanks of water. I just shocked myself. Interesting. Wiry cashier stands behind the register, preoccupied with a Sudoku puzzle. Conway asks about Shannon Marquez's workshop. Handwritten sign on the door behind the counter reads, TV repaired by appointment. Please consult with cashier. Cashier knocks a few times on the door and waits, occasionally glancing at his puzzle. After a few moments with no answer, notices a smaller note written on the sign, reads it, then points it out to Conway. Weaver, I got your message. I've left for the old mine. Don't know if I will see you there or what. Ready either way. Shannon. The cashier switches on the radio. AM sports broadcast is playing, but Conway can't be sure if it's meant to answer or drown out the questions. Okay, so she's at a mine. Gotta find the mine now. That road's inaccessible. So I'm guessing the dashed part is like water or something? Because I can't click in the middle of it either. Buffalo Creek Wreck. The offices of Buffalo Creek Rural Electric Cooperative Corporation is almost invisible from the road. Its parking lot overgrown with weeds and its facade sheltered by ivy. Conway looks in through the window. A sinewy shadow obstructs the view through the window. The floor is loosely covered in dirt. Parts of the carpet have rotted from exposure to rain. Wild mushrooms grow in some corners of the room. Welcome Raiders, welcome Raiders. Howdy Meg, I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for stopping by. Let me quickly get you a shout out going. Cryptic, if you could do that. To everyone new, howdy howdy. My name is Laird. I'll let Meg's shout out play through real quick. Cryptic, I'm going to disable that command because the partner push has been put on pause. But I do appreciate you running. I think I would need to disable that command in the near future. Meg, you need more clips, need more content. Howdy guys. Also say hi to YouTube because this playthrough is going up to YouTube. This will be part 2. Meg, DM me and remind me to send you the tool I use because you can tell it what clips to show. Howdy Mariachi Mayhem. So, howdy everyone. A brief introduction. My name is Laird. I am a Dead by Daylight streamer who is currently taking a short break from the game. We are playing Kentucky Route Zero. We've been at it for almost an hour now. 47 minutes to be exact. And it's an interesting game. I am mostly narrating, but if y'all have questions or something, I will interact and talk. Thank you, Meg. I do appreciate that. And thank you for the lurk, Mariachi. I appreciate your time here. Stay safe. And Meg, thank you for trusting your community with me. The walls behind the front desk has mostly rotted away. It looks fragile. Conway pushes through the moldy back wall. Conway finds himself in what may have once have been a conference room. The floor has fallen away in places and filled with a dark green mire. The walls of the conference room are decayed and damaged. Conway pushes through the wall. The drywall dissolves as Conway pushes through it, falling in damp clumps in the marsh. He breaks through it into a long hallway. The glow of a bioluminescent fungus cast a faint blush on the walls. Conway has the feeling he has interrupted something. After a moment of silence, the frog chorus resumes. Thank you for the work, Jedi Mega Man. Thank you for the work, Meg. Stay safe, please. I will see you soon. The diner doesn't appear to have a name. A vinyl banner slung above the door simply reads, 24 hours. It only has one window, behind which the blinds are tightly closed. Conway tries the door. The door opens easily. A bell rings nearby. The interior of the diner is pitch black. Conway stands in the doorway, waiting for his eyes to adjust. A bit of errant light from the nearby highway creeps through the open door, and gradually, Conway is able to make out a few figures inside. Two old men in trucker hats sit in the corner booth with a checkerboard set on the table between them. A young woman standing behind the counter in an apron must be a waitress. The cook stares blankly from the kitchen. The door slams shut, and the room is dark again. Conway walks in the direction of the counter. He hits his knee on something hard and metallic, winces quietly, and then carefully finds his way to a stool, places his hand on the counter. Another hand, a young woman's, rests itself on his. She guides his fingers to a laminated menu. Conway closes his eyes, opens them, maybe closes them again. Possible to differentiate. Cup of coffee would do it. Black. Oily even. Hot. Familiar diner coffee. Conway runs his hand down the menu. The surface is uniformly flat, slick with condensation. He feels a warm hand against his cheek and freezes. Her fingers run across the stubble of his chin. He feels like apologizing. She leans forward. So does he. That was a strange encounter. That looks like a city. I'm gonna head towards that. Okay, nothing to do down here, so I guess we're gonna work our way back up to the freeway. The truck jerks towards the shoulder, nearly run off the road by a swarm of dragonflies. Their wings beat briefly in the headlights, disappear into the night. The creek runs alongside the highway and then turns toward a dusty brick building. A grinding drone from within the building is faintly audible from the interstate. Floodlights on the lawn illuminate smokestacks. At the edge of the building's parking lot, a large sign, partially obscured by trees, reads, "Amer Artificial Limb Factory." So according to my notes, first right after the limb factory. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and follow that. Thank you for the lurk, Silver. Act 1, Scene 3. Elkhorn Valley. And this is where we will end recording part 2. I will see you on the next one, which will start in literally just a second.